Good morning, my friends. Good morning. Good morning, my friends. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to my live stream. Welcome. Welcome. Let me introduce myself. My name is Andre Lefevre. Andre Lefevre. And I'm a citizen journalist. My website is wildnews.us. Wildnews.us. And this morning we're going to dissect the headlines and talk about things interesting, things cultural, things political. I'm gonna start in a second talking about that now, dare I say, infamous Inspector General report, and also I'm gonna touch about the Alien Con. My wife and I went to the Alien Con, which was sold out. I want to make some comments about that. It's a very interesting cultural and political phenomenon. And we'll look at some other news, some other interesting news. And as always, we're going to read between the lines. Let's start with a let's start with something. This is something that I have found on YouTube.
One of the reasons Americans are...
Let me stop this for a second. Tom Fenton of Judicial Watch is extremely interesting man, and he had about a 6-minute clip. I'm going to play you a portion of it that he came out with just before the just before the IG report came out. Let me play a portion of it. Because he sets up what the report is all about. He was prophetic, whether he had some advance notice or he's just a smart man. So listen in.
One of the reasons Americans are upset is because they saw that Donald Trump was improperly targeted by the FBI and DOJ during the Obama administration, and Hillary Clinton was protected. Now, supposedly there's an IG report about to come out about this, and I can tell you what the IG report's going to say. I haven't seen it, but I predict it's going to excoriate James Comey for messing up the Clinton email investigation, but not in the way you think he messed it up. They're going to take the point of view that Hillary Clinton deserved better from James Comey. I don't know how they're going to handle the tarmac records issue. I don't know how they're going to handle the politicization found on Clinton emails. Maybe there'll be some good news there. But there's going to be something for both sides in this this IG report that supposedly is going to focus on the Clinton email investigation. What happened is that James Comey and Loretta Lynch, taking the lead from Barack Obama, never had any interest in enforcing the rule of law against Hillary Clinton for her national security and other crimes. So how could they do that while protecting the institution of the Justice Department and the reputation of the FBI? By pretending to do an investigation and then yelling a little bit about Hillary Clinton as they protected her.
All right, let me stop this. This was a minute 30 of it. That was exactly what the report said. It criticized then FBI Director Comey. It showed some outrage about emails going back and forth between the rogue upper echelon FBI and Justice Department employees. But that's it. No recommendation for prosecution. No admission that there was a political bias, even though there was. So this is a purely inside the Beltway job, designed to give an appearance of thorough investigation, but protecting their own. Now look at the and we are on Washington Post Times article. That one is from the 14th. This is on the day that the report came out. FBI vows to train employees to avoid bias after devastating report. Let me read you the first paragraph. The FBI will make its employees undergo bias training. Director Christopher Ray promised Thursday after a devastating report found the Bureau made some decisions, had a culture of leaking sensitive information. It may have skewed campaign season decision because of bias. Let me translate that into English. Upper echelon holds itself totally blameless, and it's going to annoy and blame the innocent agents in the field. Let me repeat that in a different way. The upper echelon, the one that should be fired and should be indicted and should spend the rest of their time in jail for trying to overthrow legally elected American president, is going to act pompous, is going to act self-important, is going to pretend that the rank and file FBI and Justice Department employees are at fault, and they themselves, the upper crust, who thinks of themselves above the law, they are going to give the training to the rest of the people. So basically, you have a fox teaching hens how not to get caught by the fox. I don't know if it's a good analogy, probably not. But this is, I'm not even going to show outrage. I mean, I think you know where I'm going with this. Let's switch gears a little bit. This is from Herald Democrat. Congress moves to ban child sex dolls, robots favored by pedophiles, and other nation and world news in brief. Let me read you a sub-headline. Congress moves to ban child sex doll robots favored by pedophiles. Washington, the U.S. House of Wednesday approved the ban on importation and trafficking of anatomically correct child sex dolls and robots that normalize sex between adults and minors. All right, let's read between the lines here and let's dissect this story. We have a problem in the Western world and in the Muslim world as well, among the upper levels of society. The powerful, the wealthy, the small clique of power elites believe that pedophilia is normal. They think that they are above the law, and they celebrate them having sex with little children. Now, Congress, instead of addressing that problem, wants to ban masturbation devices. We can debate and we can study to death whether anatomically correct masturbation devices contribute or don't contribute to pedophilia, but it misses the point completely. Tommy Robinson in England, pretty much been sentenced to death right now because he was sentenced to 13 months in prison, and he was put in a Muslim-controlled prison where he more than likely is going to be killed, just because he wanted to report on a pedophile grooming gangs, Muslim gangs, who collected British children for the consumption, sexual consumption of the power elite in England. Don't think that's not happening in the United States. It's just we're not getting reports. So the Congress, instead of appointing a special prosecutor to investigate powerful and wealthy who are involved in pedophilia, they're going to ban masturbation devices. Why does that make sense? Why does that make sense? Next one. This is from Daily Caller. IG revelation on agent journal gift giving could be federal crimes. That's going back to Tom Fenton, the video earlier. There've been some gift giving, some minor one, I think tickets to sporting events, golfing outing, drinks and meals, and admittance to non-public social events. Compare that to a attempt of coup d'etat, a serious attempt of coup d'etat to remove duly elected American president, spying on his campaign, gift giving, tickets to golf outings, drinks. Let's again just think about the differences. Treason, overthrow duly elected American president. Free drinks. I mean, yeah. I mean, if they're against the rules, people should be disciplined or fired. But is that what we're concentrating on? We're concentrating on free drinks and free golf outings, and we're totally not concentrating on a law enforcement agency, a justice department usurping the power in the United States in a coup d'etat. I don't know. I don't know if. I mean, I'm speechless when it comes to things like that. I get absolutely speechless. Trump says he wouldn't sign GOP leaders' immigration bill. This is immigration bill. Let's talk about illegal immigration for a second. Rhinos and Democrats want to pack electoral rolls in the United States so they will permanently, the power clique will permanently stay in power. If not for illegal votes of illegal immigrants, we would have a nice libertarian conservative type of government, because most middle-class Americans who actually do most of the voting want the government off our backs, want as little involvement, want low spending, don't want foreign wars, and want our borders secure. The reason Democrats, the progressive Nazis, and I include I include the establishment Rhino Republicans into it, they need to dilute our vote so they can stay in power. So thank God we elected Trump, and so far, and that Republican immigration bill, it's an amnesty for MS-13. Friday, I made some phone calls to Rhino Republicans, and I asked them questions, and it was a really simple question. Will you vote? The ones that support the bill, would you house an MS-13 gangster in your house? And if not, why do you wanna unleash those criminals on the rest of us? I got one very interesting answer from a staffer. Just look up my my live stream from Friday. I may I can bring it up real quickly. It'll take me a little while to find, but I think I'll play it maybe tomorrow, maybe day after, because I'll be talking about illegal immigration a lot. The next story, and this one from epic.com. Headline. Let's see what happened here. I hate those. Let's see. You know what? I'll skip this one. I don't know how to get rid of that ad. This one is 100% fedup.com. Alan Dershowitz, why locking Manafort up before trial is obnoxious to the Constitution? Well, Paul Manafort, as you well know, has been put in jail for supposedly tampering with witnesses. The Mueller crime crew decided that the fact that they want to do discovery before the trial and want to contact the witnesses and find out exactly what charges, what the witnesses will be testifying to, which is the right under American Constitution of anybody who's accused of a crime. Mueller and his crime crew decided that they can't have that. Actually, there is a reason for that, why they locked them up and why they're so up in arms. They are fighting potentially for their own freedom. Here's the big open secret that nobody wants to do anything about it. Mueller and Justice Department and FBI illegally surveilled Paul Manafort before 2016 election. They also surveilled a lot more people. And Manafort, through his defense lawyers, is trying his best to do discovery and bring that information to light. And this is the punishment that Mueller bestowed upon Paul Manafort for fighting back. This is a bare knuckles fight. And before you start feeling sorry for Paul Manafort is the creature of Washington, D.C. This is, I don't want to say it's a fair fight, but he's part of that world. And when you become the part of that world, you don't go by American Constitution or by the morals and by the U.S. legal system. You go by the rules of the swamp. And I hope he wins. I hope he have enough cojones, enough brains, and enough stamina to eventually put Mueller away. And he's one of those people, Paul Manafort, who is very dangerous for Mueller. He knows a lot of people. He knows where the skeletons are buried. Has a lot of allies. So let's see what happens. This is BuzzFeed News. YouTube is spreading conspiracy theories about Anthony Bourdain's death. Now, BuzzFeed, another progressive Nazi, progressive fascist media, and I include all corporate control media into that, is very loudly denying the fact that Anthony Bourdain may have not committed suicide. He may have been killed. It got to the point where YouTube is removing videos to that effect, and Google is making almost impossible on the Google searches to find anything about that. You know something, guys? That tells me that he was probably killed. Because if there was nothing about it, nobody would have cared. And since the corporate control media, basically the power elite, wants this hushed up, more than likely they killed Anthony Bourdain. And Alex Jones theorizes that Anthony Bourdain more than likely had knowledge about pedophile rings that existed in Europe and the United States. And that's why he was killed, because they're afraid he's going to go public with it. But who knows? But again, every time you see progressive Nazis suppress some information, claiming that it is a lie, it's probably true. It's probably true. The next one, this is from StraitsTimes.com. Manafort wants investigation into a member of Mueller team. Going back to Manafort, apparently the real feud between Paul Manafort is not between Robert Mueller and Paul Manafort, but among one of the criminals that Robert Mueller has hired, who is masquerading as a prosecutor. His name is Andrew Weissman. Let me read you the first paragraph. Washington Post. President Donald Trump, former campaign manager, is calling for an investigation into a key lawyer of the special counsel team that is currently prosecuting him in 2 districts. Andrew Weissman is a shady character. He has been repeatedly reprimanded by the judges for manufacturing evidence, suborning perjury. And his favorite tactic to use against white-collar criminals is to treat them as violent offenders. He likes to have FBI SWAT team break into their house early in the morning, terrorize them, their women and children, and manhandle them. I mean, this is a tactic that Andrew Weissman used when he was in the 80s, when he was persecuting La Cosa Nostra. I don't even know if that was warranted to use those tactics there, but to use it against white-collar criminals is absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. And just because Paul Manafort is fighting back, well, Robert Mueller has seeked his attack dog, his criminal associate, his thug, to do something like that. And said portion of it is that Andrew Weissman is not a physical guy. He's not a violent guy. He is a pencil neck geek that attended all the Ivy League universities, kind of a beta man who is protecting his feeling of insecurity by having other men, real men, do the violent stuff for him. I will bet you that he himself, if punched in the nose, is just going to cry and call the cops rather than fighting back. I get the impression of the guy, he's a coward. Only a coward will terrorize innocent women and children when he wants to arrest the man at the house. Let's see. Mueller probe lawyers allege corrupt deal practices exposed. Again, it's about Andrew Weissman. He's just the pencil neck geek. Sarah Carter had Mueller speedball Andrew Weissman busted for withholding evidence in previous case. Let's see what else I found here. Mueller's prosecutor Andrew Weissman cited for corrupt illegal practices. This one is from heavy.com. Andrew Weissman's 5 facts you need to know. Let's see. I'm not even going to go through there. And this is again switching gears back to immigration. DACA kids approved despite murder, rape, and sex crimes arrests. And this was an article from June 18 in Washington Post. Let me read a couple of paragraphs and let's dissect this. The people who'd been arrested on murder charges were nonetheless granted permission to remain and work in the U.S. Under the Obama-era DACA amnesty, according to new government data released Monday. 31 Dreamers had rape charges on their records. Nearly 500 have been accused of sex crimes, and more than 2,000 have been arrested for drunken driving, yet were approved by DACA status. As told, 53,000 people were to have been approved by DACA. 7% of the total had a criminal record when the government granted them status. Nearly 8,000 racked up criminal charges after they've been approved, according to the data from U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. DACA turned 6 years old on Friday, and it is back in the news, and the House of Representatives begins to debate whether to grant a broad amnesty to Dreamers, and as courts across the country grapple with the legality of 1912 program. Now, this was, DACA was an attempt by Obama administration to stack the electorate, to bring as many illegal immigrants, legalize them, and have them vote Democratic. And they vote illegals illegally. There's some estimates, at least in California, where I live, at least 3 million illegal votes are cast every election. Most of them are illegals. So this is the only way Democrats, the progressive Nazis, can stay in power. I don't see a resolution to this. There got to be a wall, and there got to be mass deportations of illegal criminals. I don't even think we need any new laws. I think we just need to enforce existing ones. And the only good thing about Jeff Sessions is that he seems to be enforcing those laws right now. Zero tolerance, I support. And when progressive Nazis like Paul Ryan and the Democrats rail about separating parents of illegal immigrants from their illegal immigrant minor children, guess what? When you cross into the United States, you commit a felony. When parents commit a felony and there are no other guardians available, the children become the wards of the state. If you don't want the children separated, don't commit a felony. This is just that simple. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it more than I can ever tell you. And have a blessed day. Have a blessed day.